My name is Danielle Sweet, and I am playing Donald Trump.
My name is Darius Head, and I am acting as Dr. Ben Carson.
I'm Crystal Loudermilk, and I'm playing Ted Cruz.
I'm Emily McClure, and I'm playing Carly Fiorina.
I am Kelly Ebert, and I'm playing Jeb Bush.
My name is Latia Chambers. I'll be doing Marco Rubio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the game show, Who Wants to Be President? The show where you, the people, decide who should run our country. Let's meet our 6 contenders. Come on out, guys. To start off, let's get to know our candidates by starting this show with asking them individually to answer this simple question. What qualifies you to be president?
I've been in politics all my life. Not just this side of it, always the money side. My qualifications as president is that I've dealt with people all over the world and have been successful all over the world. Everything I've done has been a tremendous success. That's what I'm about. I'm a businessman. I did very well with what I do and the ability I put into this country to make it rich again. I can do that. I'm not sure if any of these other people can really do that. We can do this. I plan to do this by addressing 3 major issues. Our borders, protecting the American people. We can create more jobs by getting the illegals out and taking care of the people that are in our country. When they want to become a citizen right away, we will, of course, let them back in with open arms. But as for now, we need to focus on taking care of the middle class and building them in order to be successful again. Sadly, the American dream is dead. But if I get elected, I will be back bigger and better and stronger than ever before. As my slogan goes, let's make America great again.
I'm Carly Fiorina, and I'm running for president. I would like to start by saying that only in the United States of America can a young woman go from being a secretary to working as a chief executive of one of the largest technology companies in the world. I grew up hearing my mother telling me that what you are is God's gift to you, but what you make of yourself is your gift to God. I have tried my best to live by these words. I believe that to be president, you must know how to listen and how to grow. And by these things, I will try and pass the DREAM Act for immigration, repeal Affordable Care Act, and increase insurance competition, and protect our Second Amendment to right to bear arms. And by these facts, I'm based off of that I know how to do that because I'm the first woman to lead a Fortune 50 business. HP, Hewlett-Packard, grew to become one of the 11th largest companies in the United States. And to do that, we had to make hard decisions along the way. I stood up for what I believed in, that HP had its place in the business, their decision, and by what the decisions that I made, the hidden agendas of many were stopped. We as citizens face the very same problem with career politicians pursuing anything that will bring them any personal gain, forgetting about the American people. I believe that the founders never intended for professional political class to be about. They intended for citizens and leaders to rise up and to take care of those who felt like they didn't have a voice. If you're done with identity politics, where popularity and egos are running against each other, if you're done with this, like I am, enough is enough. If you believe that there is a time for citizens to stand up and to be heard, time to be empowered, and time to have a voice in our government, join together and help me fix what had been broken in politics for so long. Then join us, because together we can do this. It is time to declare the end of identity politics. It is time to declare the end of lowered expectations. It is time for citizens to stand up to the political class. So join me in that fight, America. Thank you.
America needs a president who is willing to speak the truth, even if the truth is impossible. America needs a president who honors his commitments. America needs a president who will fight to defend the principles this country was built on. Someone who fights to protect individual liberty, fiscal responsibility, and free markets. I, Ted Cruz, will be that kind of president. As a child of an immigrant who fled oppression, I know firsthand how fragile liberty is and how easily it can be taken away. I believe that the government should support the concepts of hard work and personal responsibility rather than dependency on government programs. I believe we should be a nation that not only welcomes but celebrates legal immigrants who seek to pursue the American dream. As a senator who served on the Committee on Armed Forces, I believe in the importance of providing for our veterans to ensure they receive the quality care they deserve. I also believe we should live within our means and stop bankrupting our children and grandchildren. I believe America should be leading the world from the front, not from behind. We have a limited window to turn this country around, and we cannot keep going down our current path. We have to make a change. As far as experience goes, I have a BA in public policy from Princeton University, and I'm a graduate from Harvard Law School. I was a law clerk for Chief Justice Rehnquist in 1996. I was domestic policy advisor for the 2000 Bush-Cheney campaign, and I was the Texas Solicitor General from 2003 to 2008. As a Texas U.S. Senator, I fought to repeal Obamacare, to halt Obama's amnesty policy, and to defend the Bill of Rights, marriage, and life. But above all, I'm a man with a strong vision for America's future, a vision to reclaim our country, for the people, and to return to the founding principles of this great nation. As president, I will begin to bring this vision about by rescinding every illegal and unconstitutional executive action taken by President Obama. I will instruct the Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood and to prosecute for any criminal violations. I will also instruct the Department of Justice and every federal agency that the persecution of religious liberty is finished. I will cancel the nuclear deal made with Iran. I will abolish the IRS and the Department of Education. To prevent another catastrophe at a recruiting station like in Tennessee, I will ensure our military service members are able to bear arms. I will move the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. I will be a commander-in-chief who stands against radical Islamic terrorism, and I will fight to preserve liberty and the U.S. Constitution. This is just the beginning. Together, we will reignite the promise of America.
As a child, I grew up in a poor single-parent household. Me and my siblings, we struggled. Mom, and she didn't even get past the 3rd grade herself, so she challenged us to do better. And so what I did was I took a lifelong affair in education. And I strove in school. I strove in high school for excellence, and eventually I graduated high school and went on to Yale University. I worked as an x-ray technician, a bank teller, a school bus driver, and a supervisor for highway cleanup crews, and a can operator for a steel factory. This was all before I was accepted into the University of Michigan School of Medicine. Later, I met my wife, and I moved myself and my family out to Baltimore, where I performed my residency training at the Johns Hopkins University Medical Center. I went on to direct the pediatric neurosurgery at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center for 29 years. I am a strong believer in the power of education, and I am alarmed that America's students have fallen behind the rest of the world. So, my wife and I have founded the Carson Scholars Fund, which was founded in 1994. This is built to reward young people of all backgrounds with exceptional academic and humanitarian accomplishments. Now, the fund operates in all 50 states and the District of Columbia.
Let me begin by saying this. I'm not new to the political party process. I've been contributing as a speaker of the 3rd largest and most diverse state in the country well before I got into Senate. My name is Marco Rubio. I'm from Florida and married to my beautiful wife, Jeanette, for 12 years. I believe that the American dream is more than the American dream speech. It's action. I'm working with Senator Mike Lee in Utah to expand the child tax credit in addition to cutting the number of tax brackets. I have an anti-poverty platform where I will expand the earned income tax credit, then I will consolidate the dozens of anti-poverty programs. For immigration, I'll enforce legal merit-based systems, as well as increase border security. Once unspecified border metrics are met, I will allow undocumented immigrants to apply for non-immigrant status with a fee. Obamacare. We'll adopt new ideas like the increased access to health savings accounts and allow states to sell insurance across state lines. I will implement a new retirement plan as well. I've lived the American dream. That's why I'm so passionate, so driven to restore it. My parents came here from Cuba and worked up to the middle class doing humble jobs. By their loving and powerful example, I learned the importance of work and family and developed a well-known and spoken truth, that all things are possible in America. I want to take my ideas for reform to where they are needed most, Washington, D.C.
I'm Jeb Bush, and I believe that America is on the verge of its greatest century. I'm a committed conservative reformer. I cut taxes, I balance budgets, and I take on the special interests, just like I did in Florida. I will fix D.C. I will create an environment where people can rise up in this country again. The next president is going to have to fix extraordinarily difficult situations, have a steady hand and a strong understanding of how the government works both in America and around the world. I have proven record of cutting taxes, $19 billion in Florida, and I also shrunk the state government workforce and have AAA bonding rates. America, we need a principle-centered leadership, a disruptor to go to D.C. We need to be strong against China, use offensive tactics with the cybersecurity, and we need a strategy of how to confront Iran. We need to reestablish commitment to Israel and supply them with sophisticated weapons that they need. We need to find a way to have accommodations for all people of all levels, just like I did in Florida. I'm very pro-life. It's part of who I am. God created life, and it's life from the beginning until the end. I defunded Planned Parenthood in Florida, and I plan to do that nationally. And I also plan to fund more crisis pregnancy centers, just like I did in Florida. I want the borders to be a hopeful opportunity for people to come in legally. I do believe in strengthening the borders, but I am against mass deportation as it will rip families apart. We need to create a strategy based on the fact that the U.S. needs to rule the world. We need to rebuild the military and send the signal to a world that we are serious. We need to have the strongest military possible. I will restore America's presence in the world as it was. We will gain peace through our strength. And I will make sure we have justices with a proven experience record for upholding the Constitution. The presidency is in my blood. Hashtag all in for Jeb. Thank you.
Wow, looks like we got some great competition, but who will end up on top? It's time to start off the show with battle rounds. In this part, we will randomly put the candidates head to head to answer some tough questions with what's wrong with America today. First person to press the buzzer will have the opportunity to answer first. Then the other can fight back with a rebuttal. Sounds great, right? Let's start off with our first two candidates, Ben Carson and Ted Cruz. Okay, y'all ready? What is your stance on specific foreign affairs like ISIS? How do you plan to address this threat?
Well, I plan to address this threat by just going ahead and sending in ground troops, because you don't want an organization like ISIS to establish their roots, like develop, become more of a problem than they already are. You want to just go ahead and eradicate the problem before it becomes a big deal. So, my opinion is just go ahead and get rid of them. Don't wait. Just go in.
Rebuttal?
While I do favor a strong stance against ISIS, I don't think it's wise to begin placing American troops on the ground right now. But I'm not completely ruling out the possibility. I believe our first priority should be arming and training the Iraqi Kurds, because they are currently already our boots on the ground. The United States should be supplying them with arms because the government in Baghdad isn't really doing a great job of that right now. I believe that utilizing a combination of U.S.-led airstrikes and Kurdish ground forces should be our first action against ISIS.
Thank you, guys. Next up, we have Jeb Bush and Mark Rubio. Okay, you guys ready? Remember, who buzzes first goes first. What are each of your views on abortion?
I'm very pro-life. I'll support any legislation that reduces the number of abortions. I tell people all the time, don't pretend this is easy. But I'm gonna veer on the side of life, on the side of protecting a human being.
Same here. Life is a gift from God. From the beginning to end, we need to defund Planned Parenthood right now.
Well then, what about gun ownership?
Me. Well, I believe people have the right to own guns. They have the right to protect themselves and defend themselves. I even passed the Stand Your Ground bill in Florida to expand gun rights for my citizens.
Hey, I agree too. It's their fundamental constitutional right. But criminals and dangerous people, they shouldn't have access to guns. The laws are set in place Now, the laws that are set in place now are ineffective.
Well, since you both have the same views, who do you think should really be president out of you two candidates?
Well, with my party, we'll be the party of the future. This is a changing country. We need to stop focusing on the past issues and look at what's relevant today. I'm younger. I have a fresh viewpoint on how to handle these current issues.
Well, I'm older, obviously. I have more experience in politics. I've been in the business longer. My brother and my father were both president. Presidency is in my blood.
This isn't a resume.
If it were, Hillary Clinton would be our next president.
All right, thank you guys. Here comes our last two contenders, Carly and Mr. Trump. Please step up. The first person to press the buzzer in response to the following issues has the first say in the matter. Are you both ready?
I'm always ready.
Let's do this.
Here is your topic. For voters looking to somebody with private sector experience to create American jobs, why should they pick you to run this country? Carly, you were first. What is your response?
I have a lot of experience leading companies to create more jobs. I've led Hewlett Packard through a very difficult time, one of the worst technology recessions in 25 years. Despite those difficult times, we doubled the size of our company, tripled the rate of innovation, and quadrupled the top line growth, and also quadrupled the cash flow. Yes, in this time, we did have to make some very difficult decisions, but we did save 80,000 jobs, went on to grow to 160,000 jobs. We must lead this nation again. We are having to make some tough calls, but we can do it.
Thank you. Mr. Trump, why would you be better creating jobs?
Well, I think my history as a very successful businessman is clear enough how I can help this country out of debt. My tax plan involves 4 simple goals: tax relief for middle-class Americans, simplify the tax code, grow the American economy, and don't add any more to the debt. The plan is simple, and quite frankly, I'm the only candidate who has done it and has remained successful.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Now,
Hold on. Let me also comment back on Carly's answer.
Oh, here we go.
The company you ran was a disaster and continues to be a disaster. They still haven't recovered. In fact, on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, they fired another 25 to 30,000 people saying they haven't recovered from the catastrophe. Well, Carly said the revenues went up. That's because she bought Compact. It was a terrible deal. And it was really led up to the destruction of the company. Carly was also the Lucent, and the Lucent also turned out to be a catastrophe. So I only say this: you can't run any of my companies. You'd be fired.
You know, Mr. Trump, I find this statement quite ironic. You know, there are a lot of us Americans that believe that we are going to have a terrible time trying to pay off this interest on our debt that we've acquired over the years. Politicians have run up mountains and mountains of debt using other people's money, and that's exactly what you have done in your casinos. You ran up mountains of debt, mountains of losses, and you've been using other people's money, and you were forced to file bankruptcy. Not once.
No, I never filed for bankruptcy.
Not twice.
No, let me explain real quick.
But 4 times. A record 4 times. Why would we trust you with our finances when you can't even handle your own?
Will you let me speak now? I'll tell you why. It's very simple, actually. I made $10 billion in there alone. I had a casino company. It didn't work out. Almost everyone in Atlantic City either was in trouble and it was a disaster. And also, let me say about Atlantic City, it was a disaster, but I still made great money in Atlantic City. I knew when to get out. My timing was great, and I got a lot of credit for it. And that's not what really I can say about you with your companies. You can't even keep a straight face about it.
Whoa, calm down, you two.
You want to talk about my face? Let's get personal. You think you're so high and mighty and think that you can say whatever you want. Like, hi, I'm Donald Trump, and I get along with everybody, with being very blunt and hiring everybody that I want to.
I don't sound like that.
I wasn't finished. But you know, you went on to an interview with the Rolling Stones magazine just last week saying you were talking about my face. You said, look at that face. Would anybody vote for that?
All right. Now, let's not get out of context. I let the record show I think she's got a pretty face. A solid 10.
You know, it's interesting to me, Mr. Trump. You said that you heard Mr. Bush very clearly and what Mr. Bush said. I think women all over the country heard clearly what Mr. Trump said.
Hey, Bush had it coming when his wife was involved with the borders. We need a wall in Mexico to protect the U.S. from the American jobs, from the rapists and the murderers, and it's just not gonna work out.
Let's not go into other topics now. I think that's all the time we have for you two. Studio audience, what do you think? Your applause determines who goes through the next round. Well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed our show, and we'll see you next week on Who Will Be the Next President.